Hey, what's up? It's Symphony here. Subscribe to my brother Mr. Creepyashell channel, and when you're watching his videos, make sure you stay in one piece.
It was 9:15 p.m. on a Tuesday. My Uber pulled up outside of a trendy bar called The Rabbit Hole. It seemed a bit too rowdy for my taste, but my college buddy Alex had picked out the place. He recently moved back to the city, so we've been making an effort to catch up over lunch or dinner over the next couple of weeks. I went inside the bar, holding my laptop case and a plastic bag that had a box inside of it. Inside the box was a Barbie doll. At the end of the bar, I saw Alex. He waved it over enthusiastically.
Hey, James, what's going on, man? Long time no see.
He greeted me while giving me a bear hug.
Hey, buddy, you're looking pretty sharp in your squells, man.
Well, I'm going to be working from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. for the next couple of days until Sunday. Isn't that awesome? I said, sounding a little bummed out. One of my coworkers is out due to the fact that they just got married and they're on their honeymoon. So I'm going to be working overtime for the next couple of days until Sunday.
I bet Megan is not too happy about you babysitting those crazies during the day.
Alex joked it. I am a psychiatric nurse, and by crazy, Alex meant the patients that I work with at Methodist Mental Health Center. Well, Megan is not too thrilled, especially since we were supposed to take the kids to the water park this weekend, I said to Alex in a bombed out voice.
Aren't your kids like 6 and 7?
Alex asked. 7 and 9, I corrected him.
Oh, really? Well, they'll forget about that broken promise and be focused on your newest broken promise.
Alex chuckled.
Don't worry, James, you're good.
He reassured me.
You're nothing like mine or the other thousands of piece of shit dads out there, James.
So, Alex, did you want to talk about something? I cautiously asked.
Now that you mention it, James, I wanted to talk to you about what you got in that bag.
Alex asked while pointing to the bag. Oh, this? It's just a Barbie doll, I said to him while pulling out the box doll.
Oh, okay. What, did Alicia get an A in class or something?
Alex asked. No, it's not for Alicia. It's actually for one of my patients.
Huh? But isn't most of your patients adult men?
A confused Alex asked. Yeah, they're mostly adult men, I answered to Alex. Alex began to grin, and then he asked,
Okay, James, I am intrigued. You need to tell me what's going on here. What's the story about a grown man wanting a Barbie doll? It's weird. There gotta be a story behind that.
Why should I tell you, Alex? I teased at Alex back while smirking and giving him a side eye. A minute ago you were calling my patients crazy.
That's because they are crazy, James.
Alex chuckled.
But that doesn't mean they don't have an interesting story.
I shook my head, smiling. What did I ever see in you back when we were in college?
Maybe it was because I was hilarious. And if I'm not mistaken, I was the one who hooked you and Megan up. So spill it.
Alex said in a playful but somewhat demanding tone.
What's the deal with you getting one of your patients a Barbie doll?
Alex asked. I let out a sigh, and I began to tell Alex about what was going on with this Barbie doll and the patient. Mr. Crow, my patient. We worked out a deal, so technically this Barbie is for his daughter. Alex nodded it, looking impressed.
Wow, James, that was really nice of you.
Yeah, it is, but the only problem is Mr. Crow's daughter was drowned by her mother, I confessed it. Alex's eyes widened in shock.
So, you're telling me that this guy, Mr. Crow, and his wife, the mother of their daughter, they killed her?
Yep, I simply said. She claimed that the child was possessed and she had to do it. She was committed to a mental health facility where she was later drowned to death in one of the toilets at the facility.
Dang. And no one was ever charged for her murder?
Alex asked. Unfortunately, the case went unsolved, I explained.
Damn, that's pretty sad. So how did Mr. Crow end up in a mental facility as well?
Alex asked. Shortly after his wife killed their daughter, Mr. Crow started having panic attacks. Eventually, he moved in with his sister.
Oh, I see. So I'm guessing his sister couldn't handle it, so she checked him into a mental facility, right?
No. Mr. Crow tried to drown his niece in a kitchen sink. Alex recoiled.
But why?
He claimed he didn't do it, that it was his daughter that tried to drown his niece because she was jealous of her. I explained to Alex.
Wow, that's intense.
Alex responded. Yeah, and after they done a bunch of tests on him, they diagnosed Mr. Crow with severe schizophrenia. And he's been in mental facilities ever since, just bouncing around to different ones. He just got transferred about 2 weeks ago to this facility I work at.
Man, be careful, James.
Alex cautioned.
If it was me, I wouldn't buy that guy anything.
Don't worry, Alex, I'll be fine. Besides, Mr. Crow isn't even our most dangerous patient, I reassured him while glancing down at the Barbie. I just hope this doll brings him a little comfort, I said to myself. After eating and catching up with Alex, me and him both decided to meet up again next week for dinner. I also told him that I would be the one that would pick the next place. He agreed, and then we departed. I went home, and then the next day, at around 11:55 a.m., I made my way via Uber to Method's Mental Health Center. I made my way inside, and I punched in for my shift. I went to the bathroom and found Marcus, one of my coworkers, in the bathroom, scrubbing a stain on his shirt at the sink. Rough day? I asked him while I was taking care of my business. Fucking Mr. Blake threw his tray at me, and all the doctors wanted to do was cut this idiot's morning walk down by 30 minutes, Marcus grumbled. In my opinion, James, I think they should just up the meds on some of these jerks and turn them into zombies. Marcus and I had been pulling night shifts together for about 8 months now, and while dealing with difficult patients was challenging at times, I worry that Marcus' temper was going to get the best of him one day and he accidentally hurt one of the patients. Just let it slide, Marcus. And besides, your shift is almost done and you're off tomorrow, right? I asked him as I was washing my hands. Fuck yeah. I can't wait to wrap up my last school semester and dive into surgery prep. I'll be making more money, plus I'll be around way more female nurses, if you know what I mean, James, Marcus said with a sleazy grin, and then walked out of the bathroom. 1:35 p.m. After attending 3 of my patients, I reached Mr. Crow's room. I tapped it softly on the door, and he welcomed me in. Mr. Crow laid curled up in his bed, facing away from me. He was a frail older man and had gotten so small because he only ate half of his meals, saving the rest for his daughter. Mr. Crow, I got a surprise for you, I announced cheerfully. What? He snapped it, sounding irritable, and then he turned and faced me as I pulled the Barbie out of the bag. His eyes widened in surprise. You got it, he said loudly before lowering his voice. I almost forgot. I have to whisper because Lily is sleeping right now. He snatched the Barbie from me with a smile and examined it with joy and trembling hands. I couldn't help but notice the cuts on his wrists and forearms, but they were beginning to heal. Now that I got you your Barbie, could you stop hurting yourself, Mr. Crow? I gently asked. I didn't do it, he said in a frantic tone. Then he looked around and over his shoulders, and then he added a whisper and said, It was Lily. She's the one that hurted me. She gets like that when I forget to play with her. Right, it was Lily, I said in a skeptical voice with one eyebrow raised up. Well, tell her not to hurt you anymore now that you have a Barbie to play with. Patients sneaking razors into their rooms wasn't unheard of, but it was uncommon. What made Mr. Crow cutting himself so strange was that we never actually were able to get a footage of him cutting himself, even though there was a camera in his and every other patient's rooms. And what made this even more strange was the camera in Mr. Crow's room had suddenly stopped working seconds before Mr. Crow had cut himself and had came back on right after. No other camera in the hospital had gone out, ever. "You know what, Mr. Foster?" Mr. Crow whispered, interrupting my thoughts. "What is it, Mr. Crow?" I asked. "You're a good father, Mr. Foster." I was staggered because I never told Mr. Crow that I had children, but I guess it was a safe assumption to make. I still wanted to see why he had said that, though. I smiled and I asked him, "Why do you think I'm a father, Mr. Crow?" "Because my daughter Lily told me you were." Is that so?" I said. "Are you sure it's not just you who thinks that I'm a father?" "No, not me. How would I know? I don't get to leave my room much. Everything I know outside this room, my daughter tells me," he explained, and before I could respond, Mr. Crow glanced at his bed. "Oh, she's starting to wake up," Mr. Crow whispered. "You should leave so my daughter and I can play with her new toy." It was 2:40 p.m. on a Saturday. A few days went by without any trouble from Mr. Crow. He was very receptive to me as well as the other nurses. But then, right as my shift began, the alarm blared throughout the hospital. A patient had gone missing, and it turned out to be Mr. Crow. One of my co-workers radioed me, letting me know that Mr. Crow was on the west wing and that I was the closest to him. They cautioned me to be very careful and assured me backup was on the way. Rushing to the west hallway, I found Mr. Crow running in circles, arms outstretched as if he were a bird or an airplane, laughing uncontrollably. "What are you doing, Mr. Crow?" I called out urgently, but Mr. Crow just kept on spinning and laughing, saying he was playing tag with his daughter. "How did you get out of your room?" I demanded. "Lily let me out," he answered, and then he suddenly stopped, as if he was frozen in place. "Oh no, I'm frozen," he said, trying to stop his laughter. "Lily said that you can play as well. She likes you. So please hurry and unfreeze me." Before I can even figure out what should I do next, Marcus appeared from around the corner and tackled Mr. Crow to the ground. "I got you now, you bastard," he said. "Wait, Marcus, what are you doing?" I shouted. "What does it look like I'm doing?" Marcus angrily snapped it. "I'm restraining this psycho escapee." He pinned Mr. Crow down easily, pressed his knees on Mr. Crow's back. Mr. Crow cried out in pain. "Marcus, you don't have to be so rough," I said in a worried tone. "Fuck this guy," Marcus fired back. "This motherfucker somehow took my keys while I was giving him breakfast this morning." "I didn't take your keys," Mr. Crow gasped. "It was Lily." "Shut up," Marcus yelled as he slammed Mr. Crow's head against the floor. "Marcus, calm down," I urged as I was trying to keep the situation from escalating. "Lily, help me, please," Mr. Crow cried out, reaching for something invisible. "Stop this nonsense," Marcus shouted again. He hit Mr. Crow's head against the floor again, this time causing the older man to go unconscious. It was a Sunday at 7:45 a.m. Since my coworker was due in on Monday, I arranged to come in earlier and leave earlier today, ready to switch back to my evening shift. On my way to work, I texted Alex that we'll meet up at Bullseye around 6 for beer and food tonight. Expecting a calm day after the chaos of yesterday, I was taken aback when my Uber pulled up to the hospital and it was swarmed with cop cars and ambulance. I was barely able to get inside the hospital with all the security outside, and when I did make it in, my hospital staff informed me that Marcus had sadly taken his own life the night before while on shift. One of my coworkers had found him hunched over with his head underwater in the bathroom sink, and his throat was badly cut. The break room camera had mysteriously malfunctioning right before Marcus had cut and then drowned himself. The cops had interrogated everyone who'd been on duty and reviewed all the other footage throughout the hospital. Every nurse and doctor that had been working last night had been accounted for on camera, as well as all the patients in the moment that Marcus had ended his life. I was stunned and devastated by the news, and while Marcus wasn't a friend, the sudden loss hit me hard, but the idea of him ending his own life didn't sit right with me. I couldn't explain it, but something felt off about it. Even though I knew Mr. Crow wasn't involved in Marcus' death, I felt compelled to see him and talk to him. When I made it to Mr. Crow's room, I glanced through the window and I saw a pool of blood on the floor. "Code red! Code red!" I yelled down the hallway, then bursted into Mr. Crow's room. He looked it up, barely conscious, and he mumbled, "She's mad again," before passing out. I called for help on the radio as I applied pressure to Mr. Crow's deep cut, praying he wouldn't die on me. 5:35 p.m. Sunday. Mr. Crow had lost a lot of blood, but thankfully he didn't die. He moved to an emergency wing of the facility and spent most of the day resting. I noticed him waking up from the camera feed, so I headed over there to talk to him. With only 20 minutes left on my shift, I at least wanted to talk to Mr. Crow for a few minutes to see if I could get a real answer to why he had cut himself again on the same day Marcus had supposedly killed himself. I opened the door to Mr. Crow's room cautiously, and I found him connected to various monitors and security strap-downs. His belongings sat in the chair in the corner along with the now blood-stained Barbie doll. "How are you feeling, Mr. Crow?" I asked. "I don't feel nothing. I don't think I make Lily happy anymore," Mr. Crow said. "Did you hurt yourself, or did she hurt you?" "Lily hurted me. She says she won't stop hurting people until she gets to leave this place. She wants to go with you and play with your family." His words unsettled me, but I also was tired of him bringing her up and hurting himself. "Okay, Mr. Crow, here's the deal. If I let Lily come with me, will she stop hurting you?" I asked, feeling unsure. It seemed bargaining with Mr. Crow was the only way to stop some of his destructive behavior. Mr. Crow looked surprised. "You really would watch her for me?" he asked. "Only if she promises to stop hurting you for good," I said firmly. Mr. Crow glanced over to the other side of the room. "You hear that, Lily? You can go home with Mr. Foster, but you have to stop hurting Daddy." Mr. Crow then turned to me and said, "She agrees to not hurt me anymore." With a forced smile, I said, "Well then, it looks like we have a deal, but I have to go now, Mr. Crow," I said to Mr. Crow as I checked the time on my phone. I turned to another part of the room and I said, "Come on, Lily, let's go." "She's not over there, silly. She's right next to you." Even though I knew there was nothing next to me, I still felt uneasy for some reason. "Make sure you take care of her and play with her, okay, Mr. Foster?" Mr. Crow requested. "Get some rest, Mr. Crow," I said, barely able to hide my irritation. Closing the door behind me, I breathed a sigh of relief. I'd never been so happier to leave this mental facility. It was 6:44 p.m. Sunday evening. I was on my way to the bar. I had called Megan to remind her that I'd be grabbing a beer with Alex before heading home. Chatting with Megan and my kids really helped me compartmentalize the hard events of today. I couldn't wait to get home and just relax with them. I arrived at the restaurant before Alex, and I snagged us a table near a big screen showing a basketball game. The place was buzzing with friendly chatter. I ordered me and Alex some beer, and I was nearly done with my first when Alex found me.
"Man, you're already starting without me?"
he asked happily. "Fuck, bro, it's been a long day," I replied.
"Hell, bro, it's been a long week for me,"
Alex countered.
"My ex hit me up like 3 days ago."
As Alex went into his story, I caught the sound of a girl's laughter somewhere in the bustling restaurant. "Hey, Alex, did you hear that?" I asked Alex, feeling surprised.
Hear what?
Alex questioned, looking puzzled. Laughter returned, but this time it was much more louder. "The laughter. You didn't just hear it?" I asked impatiently as I scanned the room, but there was no little girl in sight, just adults all around.
You're starting to crack, buddy.
Alex teased, then his expression changed.
Whoa, you almost got me.
Alex grinned as he picked up something from the floor. "What are you talking about?"
This.
When he showed me, my blood ran cold and all the color drained from my body. It was that Barbie doll, that same Barbie doll from Mr. Crow's hospital room that was stained with blood. And then I heard the sound of that little girl laughing again. My name is Aaron. I've always been a bit of a bookworm, preferring the company of my novels to the bustling nightlife outside. After graduating with a degree in computer programming and cybersecurity, I landed a great job at a tech firm. The job paid well enough to afford a fancy townhouse duplex, a place that was quite frankly a little out of my league. Since graduating, I gained a little bit of weight from all the sitting at my job. Also, my social life had dwindled to almost nothing. I quickly settled into my routine, savoring the quiet evenings with my books. For a while, the townhouse next to mine was empty, and I enjoyed the solitude. But within a week, a new neighbor moved in. That's when I met Bethany for the first time. Now, how to describe Bethany? Well, she was completely opposite from me. She was socially outgoing, loved talking to a bunch of people, plus she was confident and physically fit. She had a job that seemed to pay more than well, and her social calendar was always full. She was the kind of person who drew attention everywhere she went. On weekends, I'd hear her bringing back different men, their laughter echoing through the thin walls. At first, I tried to ignore it. I figured it was just a part of living in close quarters and sharing walls. Now, the nights were worse. The sounds would start with a soft laughter, then a whisper, followed by an unmistakable creaking of the bed. The walls were thin enough that I could hear every moan and every gasp. It became a routine. I buried my head in my books, trying to ignore the noise. Earplugs became a regular part of my bedtime routine, but even they couldn't completely drown out the sound. One morning, as I was leaving for work, I bumped into Bethany outside while she was watering her garden. She was wearing a right low-cut tank top that showed off quite a bit of cleavage, and the jeans were cut off short, barely covering anything. I tried not to judge, because a lot of women dress very bold these days, but her outfit, not leaving much to imagination, did take me by surprise and made me a little anxious to leave.
"Good morning, Aaron. How's the bookworm life treating you?"
asked Bethany. I chuckled nervously, adjusting my glasses. It's, going well. I just finished a great history piece set in the Roman times. Her eyes sparkled with amusement.
You know these walls are so thin I can hear you turning pages sometimes.
She laughed it. I blushed, feeling awkward. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. I should be the one apologizing. I'm pretty sure you heard more from my side, right?
I swallowed hard, not knowing how to respond. Yeah, a little bit, but I try to keep to myself. Bethany leaned in slightly, her voice dropping to a playful whisper.
Well, I do hope it's not too distracting, 'cause my guests and I can get excited sometimes.
I felt my face burning. No, it's fine, really. She gave me a lingering look and then smiled.
Well, have a good day, Aaron. Maybe one day you can join in the fun instead of just listening.
I stammered, trying to find the right word. Maybe. See you later, I said, and I hurried into my car. Despite Bethany's fun and bold personality, I tried my best to avoid her and let her be until that horrible night. One evening, after a long day at work, I was cooking dinner when I heard Bethany and her date pull up into the driveway. Their laughter filtered through the walls. I settled on my couch, book in my hand, trying to drown out the noise of their fun. Soon the familiar sounds began, the bed rocking and the muffled voice. I sighed, grabbing my earplugs, hoping to block out the noise. But then something different happened. I heard her date starting to yell. It wasn't the usual sound of pleasure. This was different. He was yelling in fear. Panic gripped me. My heart was pounding in my chest. What was happening? Should I do something? Should I call the police? Then I heard the sounds of a struggle. Furniture being knocked over. Desperate shouts, muffled by the wall. There was a loud thud, followed by the cold, chilling sound of a gunshot. It sounded muffled, as if it was through a silencer. And then, silence. The struggle and the yelling had stopped it abruptly. My heart stopped. I was frozen. Listening intensely, I heard Bethany's voice. Her voice felt calm, but at the same time, it felt really aggressive.
Aaron, I know you can hear me because the walls are thin.
She said humorously.
I just want to talk to you about what you heard. Please let me in.
My mind raced. What should I do? I carefully walked it to the door, pressing my ear against it. Just when I was about to reach for the locks on the door, Bethany knocked again, her voice becoming more urgent.
Aaron, just let me in. Let me in, Aaron.
My heart pounded as I stood there frozen, her tone shift, becoming softer, almost confessional.
Aaron, you know I've always thought of you. I secretly had a crush on you. Please let me in. Let's talk about this.
I felt paralyzed by fear, my hand hovering over the doorknob. The minutes stretched on, feeling like hours. She suddenly started to bang on the door. The force of the banging made me jump back.
Aaron, let me in.
She said aggressively.
I know you're there, Aaron. Let me in.
Then, in a sensational voice, she said,
Let me in, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your mind.
I couldn't move. My breath felt shallow and rapid. I couldn't stop thinking about the muffled gunshot I heard moments ago. I slumped against the door, my heart still racing. I never opened the door that night. I couldn't. The next morning, I cautiously stepped outside. Bethany was gone. Her car was gone. And I don't know what happened to her or her date. I've already talked to my landlord about moving out, and you can better believe that the next place I move in, I'm not sharing a wall with a neighbor. Ever.